with somebody who loves me. Alright, I'm back. Sorry for making this video very, very delayed by probably 2 rounds now, sorry. Let me just see if I can get all this done round 5, 6 and at least try and spell round 7 out. Well, as we know that the Sydney Swans had lost against Adelaide Crows by 10. It was 75 to 85. Then that was at the SCG. Then there was the St Kilda versus the GWS game, and that was score levelled there. So then there was the West Coast and Carlton game, and that was also 10 points, but this one was 69 to 79. And that was for that game. Now we're moving quickly on to the Port Adelaide versus Geelong Pussycats game. It was 50 to 84, so that was 34 points difference. Now it's the Dockers. It was 108 to 54, so 54 point difference. And now let me quickly move on to the Kangas versus the Hawkies game. That was 89 to 70, which is a 28 point difference. Now let's move on to the Brisbane and Gold Coast game at the GABBA. It was only 5 points difference with this game in round 5, I think it was, and it was 71 to 76. Now let me move on to the Melbourne versus Richmond game, and it was 56 to 102. So that was for the Richmond and Melbourne game. And now let me move on to the Collingwood and Essendon game. 101 to 52, and that was 49 points difference. Now let me quickly move on to round 6. And then I was first, quote unquote, the Bulldogs game with Carlton. And looks like Carlton had lost by 21 points. Then it's the Geelong versus the Sydney Swans, and that was a good win, I must admit. It was 69 to 86, so that was for the Sydney and Geelong game. Now it's time for the Kangas versus Port, the Powers, in other words. It was 69 to 102. That was for Kangas and Port. Now let's move on to GWS and Brisbane, and it was 77 to 43. So 34 point difference there. Now let me go on to the Hawks and St Kilda game. The Hawkey Porkies and the St Kilda East game. It was 35 point difference, and it was 89 to 54, so that was a 35 point difference, as I just said. Now let me move on to the Adelaide and Gold Coast game, and this was at Adelaide Oval. It was 110 to 62, which was 48 points difference. Now let me move on to the next game, which is Essendon and Melbourne. And this was 72 to 108. And this was at the ES Stadium. And yeah, now let me move on to the Collingwood and Richmond game, and this was 70 to 113 here. It was 43 points, like I said, 70 to 113. Now let me move on to probably one of the most famous games probably Perth and probably even Australia has ever seen, even though the Eagles won by only 8 points. It was pretty close, probably the first game, for the first ever game at Optus Stadium with the Derby, and the first score, in other words, the first point and goal, were actually made against was the West Coast Eagles, who got the first point and first goal probably within a couple of minutes, really. And the Dockers had lost. It was 81 to 89. So that was that game. Now let me move on quickly to, and actually before I move on, let me mention that public transport would have been so busy during the Derby, since by the looks of the stadium, every seat was basically full, and also transport and that was probably pretty busy. Like, I tried making the other videos, but probably because I've got a lot of movies downloaded already on my tablet, that's probably what the cause is. Not me not updating videos to YouTube. But public transport, in other words Transperth, was pretty busy, I'm guessing. The train network and the bus network was pretty busy, and I'm guessing the ferry might have been too. And especially since it was probably one of the most famous days Perth has probably ever seen, if not Australia. And they came to an agreement, as I hear, with the medals. So I think. Now let me quickly move on to the round 7 quarter, or games quickly. Round 7. And let me quickly tell you who's playing and whatnot. The Friday game at 5:50 at Geelong Stadium, I think that is what it is. That is playing at the 4th of March 2018 at 5:50, like I said. Then it's going to be the Bulldogs, the Western Bulldogs versus Gold Coast Suns, on the 5th, which is on a Saturday at 11:45. Then it's going to be the Essendon Bombers and the Hawks versus at 12:10. Then it's going to be the Eagles and Powers. Then Sydney Swans and North Melbourne Kangaroos. Then Adelaide Crows and Carlton. Then Richmond Tigers and Fremantle Dockers. St Kilda and I think I said Melbourne. St Kilda and Melbourne. Then it's going to be Brisbane Lions and Collingwood. So I'm not telling you the days because this probably won't even update on my tablet here. But I will update this as soon as I can, and I hope you enjoy. See you later. Bye.